So it has come to my attention that, along the grapevine, there have been whispers of people in certain circles talking about, oh, Hildryn is becoming overpowered, she needs to be nerfed, fear-mongering like that. I mean, you hear it all the time, but, like, for whatever frame. But Hildryn is one that I've heard a lot recently. So I would like to talk about that and say that people are, one, crazy, two, this is just kind of how Warframe is at this point. So, Hildryn, in her current state, is extremely tanky, has an absurd amount of shields that, as you will see here, is just kind of impenetrable. Like, realistically, you're not getting down by her. This is Inaros, but with a blue bar instead of red, right? Like, you can knock her down, you can throw around all she want, and once she procs Arcane Aegis, it's just kind of over. Like, there's not much you can really do to her, and while she does have a couple weaknesses here and there, which are relevant, damage directly to her health is very, very potent, such as Toxin, or some of the Limnus from EDA, ETA, that does affect her directly, and that is an inherent weakness that is valid. Like, she can struggle sometimes if those Limnus are being a little bit too close to her. Like, she can just get down for no reason. But, again, so argument one is that she is very, very tanky, and is kind of just Inaros with a blue bar instead of red, which is true. Like, that is something I can't really deny. The Arcanes that she has right now are phenomenal. She has Aegis, she has Expertise, letting her stack Power Strength without actually investing that much into her shields, and still having, like, 10,000 of them. That is a very strong utility of her kit, is that she just kind of doesn't really die. So, like, I will give people that point. That is a very strong piece of her kit. A lot stronger than most frames have. It means that she's very insulated from a lot of debuffs that you might have from, like, ETA, EDA, so on and so forth. She just kind of isn't affected by them at all. Just because, again, you can't really disable her own shields. I think there's one debuff that, like, hurts her a lot, but I think that she can arguably still play with it. It's the one that, like, reduces shield regen by, like, 500%. I don't think that one is that bad. I think you can honestly get away with that not being a real issue. But on those days, I would just take somebody else, frankly. And, like, again, that's, like, one debuff out of the entire library that would affect her directly. Two, so the other part of her kit that is really good is that obviously she has, like, a built-in Exalted Weapon. That is a good thing. Granted, it's not very good in its base form. Like, does it do some damage? Yeah. Not the most amazing damage. But, like, it does something. Like, this is killing trash mobs. But, this is not how you're using it. So, realistically, this is not an ability in her kit at all. Like, this is something that you can kind of have, I guess, again, EDA, ETA utilization. Like, that is her main niche right now, is that she's just very, very insular. And the things that she does are very, very good generalist tools to have. Like, again, not dying is very good to have, and have it not tied to an ability is also very good to have. But, like, none of these things that I've listed so far are very game-breaking. She does have Pillage. Pillage is a very good ability. It strips shields and gives her shield regen, and can just strip entire crowds for free should she want to do that. And I mean, you kind of do want to do that in most cases, although realistically, if I'm playing Hildryn, I'm actually not pressing Pillage that much. I think that the threshold for power is really, really high, and I just don't think it's worth building for. Although it is a very good ability on other frames, I actually think it's a little bit weaker, because what makes her quote-unquote broken doesn't really care about armor, because it's so powerful. And then she has Haven. Haven is a questionable ability. I think it is the default to subsume over. Like, there's just really no reason to use it for the most part. Like, I'm sure, like, I think there's the one augment that people use, but again, I don't think that that is why people say she's broken. But that is a point against her being broken, because between her one being kinda bad in its default state and her 3 being not a real ability, she kind of loses out on half a kit, which is a very strong argument against her being broken. And then all of her power kind of comes from her 4 and the augment that has come with it in recent time. Going into her 4, she has Aegis Storm. It crowd controls every enemy ever. This is a very strong crowd control ability. It's part of the ability that I don't think people talk about that much, even though it is a very good aspect because of how absolute it is. You are basically a walking Vauban Bastille for no reason. You spawn energy for ever, basically. While you're in here, you can pillage, get shields back if you need to, if that is just a thing you can do. But realistically, you're pressing rebuild shields, and then, oops, I have all my shields back, and I don't need to leave my 4. That is just something that you can monitor very, very easily, and is very effective at doing what it does. And then, of course, obviously, the elephant in the room is this. She can just shoot this willy-nilly. It's really, really strong. Like, what do you do about this? Let's be honest here. Just absolutely chunks enemies into the sun. Just not a fan. Like, it is so much damage over a wide area that I think that there is some legitimate argument for saying, like, okay, this is a very strong aspect of her kit and does deserve to be looked at, because you have, like, fulmination, you have maybe a little bit of range in there if you're so inclined, and you just sit in this mode and you just go to town. And it just eats enemies alive. You are up here, you have a million shields, you're doing so much damage in this giant area. And, like that is what Hildryn does, is that she's super insular. She has a fully self-contained kit that can function on its own without weapons. Great damage. Amazing survivability, some utility in armor strip. What's not to like here, right? And that's the thing is, again, I don't know where these people get this idea that Hildryn is some nerfable, like, super broken Warframe. Hildryn, conceptually, is just really good insular generalist. Like, very self-contained, very, like, complete kit that she really doesn't need outside help to make work. It doesn't require a lot of cognitive thought, frankly. Like, you just need to be in your 4 and then press 3 every so often to restore your shields. Or press pillage if you're so inclined to do it that way as well. That also works. But again, I don't think that either of these aspects is that crazy. And then yes, as Scarecrow mentioned, it is... does not have a line of sight check. That is true. I don't think that is particularly egregious on Hildryn, though. The reason being for that is that if you actually, like, look at how big her 4 is, and I have, like, a decently sized range on her 4, like, it's about, like, this square or so, like, this, if you look here, like, this 9x9 square is about roughly where it hits, more or less, and, like, is this big for an AoE? Yes. Is it really that big? Not really. Like, the problem with AoE, like, line-of-sight checks and why they can be broken is because they are often tied to massive range nukes, like Dante's Tragedy is the famous example that, you know, kind of catalyzed that whole discussion in the first place. Or Nezha's whole interaction that came out that same update. It's like, yeah, yes, you can hit that entire group of enemies, like, that is not unreasonable to do, but I don't think that that is entirely necessary. I don't think she needs to be doing that. I think she's more than fine as is. Yeah, Magnum Force and Fulmination, again, does stretch that range out just, like, a little bit more. But again, even if it is hitting that group of enemies, like, that is pretty strong. That is pretty strong, and I will concede that. But again, I don't think that that is necessarily game-breaking. Again, it is just a Warframe that is very, very strong and has her strengths, but, like, does not have everything ever. She just has two really, really good aspects, which is her ability to deal damage and her ability to take damage. But she doesn't really have a lot of flexibility outside of that. Like, she is just kind of like, almost like a soldier class, if you will. Like, just like, she is never bad in a situation, but she is never the strongest in a situation either. For the most part. But again, by the nature of the way Warframe works, you could argue that, oh, being a generalist is stronger than having, you know, a more specialized kit that has a higher ceiling. And again, you can make that argument, but again, the degree to which Hildryn does this is, I don't think, very egregious. Again, I think that there are plenty of other frames that are in a similar boat as her. Again, obviously there's Wukong. Wukong is kind of the eternal Nepo baby, always going to be good forever, no matter how many times they try and nerf him. Even though realistically he has not been nerfed directly that much, it is just a lot of broken interactions that they have nerfed, but those have not affected the, like, strength of his overall kit. Again, Mesa, another perfect example. Jade. Jade is very similar to Hildryn, and she should theoretically be under the same scrutiny as Hildryn, but just kind of isn't. Again, Dante, another super insular, very general frame that has a lot going for him. But the thing is, Dante has so much more going for him. If anything, people should want Dante nerfed again. But again, that's completely stupid, because why are we nerfing frames? Again, DE has a very specific nerf policy that I think people often forget when we talk about nerfs, is that they have a very explicit terminology. Is it disruptive to other players? Is it overbearing on the core gameplay? And there's, like, one other third thing that I don't remember. But again, they have, like, a specific criteria, and I don't think Hildryn fits any of these. I think the third one's, like, limit diversity, and again, that's not a problem. People aren't all flocking to Hildryn and making the game stale. Like, that's just not happening. And again, I would argue that her flight is honestly a detriment, because it is natively very, very slow. Again, that's one of the other reasons where it's like, I don't think she's that amazing. Like, is the flight bad mobility-wise? It's not terrible. It could be better. Again, you have Okina Prime to remedy this. That does definitely help her quite a bit. Like, if I go equip the Okina Prime here, that is not a problem. And it helps her with just general mobility. Like, it makes her slightly faster. And you can also include parkour velocity on her if you are so inclined to do that. That is not an unreasonable thing to include. And, like, that does help her mobility-wise. But again, I don't think the flight is necessarily a benefit. And again, like I said, she does have a very strong do-this button. Like that's not unreasonable to say. Like, again, am I saying Hildryn is not strong? No, she is a very strong Warframe. I would argue that she is in the top 5 right now. But I don't think that she is so good that she warrants some kind of esoteric nerf. I think that that is utterly ridiculous, if I'm being honest. And like I said, are people talking about this? I don't think really they are. Again, I think this might just be like some niche content creators maybe talking about this. I don't know. But again, I think that Hildryn is just fine. There's nothing egregious about her, and in fact, I think more people need to be giving her a shot because she is a very strong frame.